Yeah, Joey is coming in late. I mean, come on. Okay, are we up and running? All right. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you please call the roll?
Chairman Timaeus,
I'm here.
Board Member Beaver is absent. Board Member Hilliard,
Present.
Board Member Rowe.
Here.
Board Member Sorrell.
Here.
Alternate Board Member Imuni is absent. Alternate Board Member Jones.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. First order of business after the roll call is the approval of the minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to take a look at those and decide whether they like them, dislike them, whether they need some modification or not. What say you about the minutes?
So moved to approve.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay.
Chairman.
For approval.
Quick note about the mics. These are super sensitive.
I
so-
just noticed that.
Yes.
I'm trying to,
So if you turn them on and just angle them up and just speak normally, it'll project. So don't bend the tip.
really?
Really, it weakens the mic. So if you just angle it towards you or where you want it to go, it doesn't need to be directly in front of you because you'll be super loud. So somewhere close to you and speak at a normal volume in the mic works.
All right.
We had a whole training. I feel like an expert.
This is a little different. Yeah, a little different system. Yeah, I gather that. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Would anybody who wants to speak for, against, or otherwise make any comment about any item on the agenda today, please stand all at once. Raise your right hand all at once. Be sworn all at once so that we can get that done. All right. We have two items on the agenda today. The first is PZ 2023-122. The request is for a variance for side yard setback and rear yard setback. Side yard from, side yard only, 2.5 feet to 1.9 feet for Holly Ham at an address 229 West Circuit Drive. Could we have the staff report concerning that item, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir, we do. File PZ 2023 is a request, as you stated, for the property at 229 West Circuit Drive. And the property is zoned residential single family and therefore requires a minimum yard setback of 2.5 feet for an accessory structure in the rear yard. The applicant is requesting the side yard setback be reduced from 2.5 feet to 1.9 feet. The Hams recently acquired the property and would like to build an extension on the rear of the existing carport storage accessory structure. The structure is located 1.9 feet from the side property line and appears to have been permitted in 2011. Ms. Ham states that the addition will be a one-story structure with no windows on the neighbor's side of the building, and that the extension is to accommodate a boat that will not fit if they have to build 2.5 feet from the property line. Let me go ahead and show you a couple of slides. Okay, the property outlined in red is the subject property. And this is the site plan with the proposed addition. And you can see it there at the rear of lot 112. And this is an aerial photograph of the property. You can see the existing building there at the north side of the property. And this is a picture of the front of the house. And this is between the two properties on the north side. So the property to your left is 229, and then you have the property to the north, just to show you how close their existing accessory structures are already to that property line on both sides of the line. We sent out 23 notices to property owners within 200 feet, and we received 1 in favor and 0 in opposition. Do you have any questions?
questions of the witness?
Was there any comments of the in favor?
No, they just marked that they're in favor.
Any other questions of the witness? There being none, we'll let her continue to sit aside. And who wants to speak at this point in favor of this request for the variance at 229 West Circuit? Come up. Please just, I don't know about the mic, but if you would just say your name, please, explain your, and your address, because that's significant, and explain your relationship to the property, and then just tell us whatever you want to say.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you all. My name's Blake Ham. Me and my wife, or my wife and I, I'm sorry, we're new homeowners at 229 West Circuit.
Yeah, we do variances, not English. It's okay.
All right.
If I can get you to just angle that, Michael, just a little bit closer to you. You're kind of a soft-spoken individual. That'd be great. Thank you.
So my wife,
She's lawyer and technology officer.
now I'm more nervous than I was. This is my wife.
Yes, yes.
And this is potentially, I guess, our contractor, Mr. Bevilacqua.
Okay.
Mr. Bevilacqua came out there with us. We had asked him, so if you look at that, it's kind of hard to tell from there, but if you're looking at it, all those driveways are kind of the same, one car in and one car out. There's that gate. If you opened that gate and went back, there'd be a very nice carport, just big enough for two normal sized vehicles to kind of fit in. And then behind that, you would think it's a garage, but it's not. It's a storage building. It's about 10 feet deep. Okay. And so, what we're asking to do is just take that existing building and deepen it so that our duck boat can go in, as well as other things like lawnmowers, weed eaters, things of that sort. Because the size of the building really is not that large. If Mr. Bevilacqua came out and looked at it, measured it, had it surveyed, or whatever he did, and then he suggested we come talk to y'all before doing anything. And it's just not really feasible to try to build the back of that at an offset, so that the new addition or the extension of the existing building is, offset a couple of feet to the left. If we did that, frankly, I'm not sure how it would work out. It would look a little funky, and it would definitely probably not work for us to move that duck boat in. I would say that now, having lived at this location for a little bit, it's a fairly congested, I've learned before, after we submitted this, that it's sort of a congested area. I might have mentioned that all these driveways are kind of one car in, one car out. If you see on the right, you can see, people have to move a car out to get a car out, right? If you're a family. So there's a lot of parking on the street. I would just say if we could put our boat inside our garage, that would be one less car on the street out there on West Circuit. Subject to your questions.
It looks to me like what you're really trying to do is you're trying to take the same line of the same wall that's pre-existing and simply run that west further, move the back of the building
That's correct, sir.
west. Okay.
Yes, sir. That's what we're
All
asking.
right. I just wanted to make sure that, and it's really, you're just wrapping around the same outline, but deeper.
Same outline, a little deeper. I think there's still going to be, 5 to 10 feet from the rear fence.
Yeah. Looks like on the survey that the building's a little cockeyed, so that as you go further back, you're approaching
You have to make a small turn.
Yeah, okay. All right. I have no other questions. Anybody else got a question of this witness?
Have you spoken to your adjacent neighbor about the advancements?
We've talked to the neighbors on both sides. I don't remember their last names, but it's Michael, Ellen, and Sumner, their daughter. And we did talk to them. They were nonplussed by the whole deal. They said, fine with us. And same on the other side. The Mazzolos are the family on the other side of us. They're the ones that have 3 teenage sons and a lot of cars, and they were fine. I think they could use the additional parking space in front of my house.
Nice
Any-
note to point out.
Any other questions of the witness? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Before
it.
we close the evidence on this, anybody else want to speak for, against, or otherwise make a comment on this item that's on the agenda? And seeing nobody stand up, where are we, gentlemen? Anybody ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve PZ 2023-122.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Let's have a roll call vote on that, please, ma'am.
Chairman Tamayo?
I'm for it.
Board Member Hilliard?
For.
Board Member Rowe?
For.
Board Member Sorrell?
For it.
Alternate Board Member Jones?
For it?
Okay. Thank you very much for asking permission instead of forgiveness.
Yeah.
I like it like that.
All right.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. You'll need to talk with the staff. I think there's about a 10-day waiting period and some other things. So y'all make a call in later, okay?
Welcome to the neighborhood.
All right, thank you all very much.
Absolutely.
All right. We're now looking at PZ 2023-133. It is a request for side yard setback reduction to 5 feet at 3185 West Crockett Street. Could we have the staff report on that, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. J.W. Turner Construction is requesting a variance for the property located at 3185 West Crockett Street. The property is zoned RCR, Residential Conservation Revitalization, and requires a minimum side yard setback of 7.5 feet for a two-story structure. The applicant is requesting that both side yard setbacks be reduced to 5 feet. This will be a new home provided through the Texas General Land Office Homeowners Assistance Program for Disaster Recovery. The available lot is approximately 25 feet wide, and the new house will be 15 feet wide. Newly platted lots are required to be a minimum of 50 feet wide. However, this lot is one that's been there for many, many, many years. The applicant states that the extreme narrowness of this lot creates a hardship. The existing house, which will be demolished to make room for the new structure, is located less than 5 feet from each side property line. Let me go ahead and show you some slides. The first slide was the property outlined in red, the subject property. And this is a site plan showing how they plan to configure the building on the property. So they're going to be placing a 15-foot wide building on the property, two-story structure. If they had to conform to our building setbacks, they would have a 10-foot wide building. So the property outlined in red is the subject property. There is a house there at this time. And that little gray house on the left of your picture is the existing house. And you can see it's very close to the neighboring property already. And that's the other side of the property. The lot next to it is vacant. And we sent notices to 34 property owners within 200 feet of the property. We did receive 1 in favor and 0 in opposition. Are there any questions?
Adina, you may not know, it may be for the witness, but the house on the right, was that built in the same program? Is that?
It appears to be. It's one that I would recognize as one of the programs. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but definitely one of the programs.
They figured out it floods, and so
Let me go back.
Yeah.
That's the closest picture I've got.
Okay.
It looks like one of the program houses to me. Yeah, maybe, Harvey. You can pretty much drive down these streets and pick out the ones that have been.
Right. So Miss Adina, the existing structure is a previous rebuild from
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like one that was a rebuild. I'm assuming that they built it slab on grade. The previous, it was, like you said, probably Rita build, and it was probably due to wind damage that the structure was so damaged, so they replaced it. And then either in Harvey or Imelda, I'm not sure which, apparently it was flooded. So that's why, and it's not the only one that we have in town that's happened to. I know there were several up on the, over in the, off Pine, in the river bottom area, that we had them build houses 4 and 5 feet above the base flood elevation in the floodplain. And in Harvey, they had 6 and 7 feet of water in them. So, I mean, they went to extreme lengths to build them up high enough, and they still had a great bit of water in it, so.
Well, the first part of your sentence was there in a river bottom.
Yeah, but they built it 6 feet above the base flood elevation. So, I mean, you were talking about a house that was on like 8-foot poles already,
Right.
you know?
Right.
That was just a freak. I mean, they found deer and tree 20
Yeah.
feet up in the Neches River. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, we had houses on 10-foot poles that had water over the ceiling, so down on the bayou, so.
That's correct.
Sure.
And that was, and the home adjacent to it was a Harvey home?
I'm not sure, the house next to it, I would say it was most likely Harvey, I'd guess.
Most likely because the.
Looks newer.
Yeah, we'll get you, we'll hear from you in just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions of this witness?
No, ma'am.
Okay, why don't we let this lady step up? If you would come, identify yourself, tell us your name and your address and your relationship to the property, and then go ahead and make your comments.
My name's Katrina Randazzo. The address is 3113 Highway 69 North in Nederland, Texas. And I am with J.W. Turner Construction. Questions?
No, what were you going to say in response over here about?
Oh, in response, I was going to say there really weren't that many houses that were elevated after Ike and Rita. So it's very likely that that is actually a Harvey or a Melda rebuild. And also, I can tell just from the design, it's a different design on those houses than what we did for Ike and Rita.
Okay. And it looks, this wouldn't be eligible for your work unless it had flooded, I presume.
Not necessarily. If it had storm damage from those storms and not necessarily flooded, then we probably wouldn't be elevating this house. So because it's on a slab and it flooded, then it needs to be elevated.
Right, and that's my point.
But if
That it had to have flooded for you to,
No.
it didn't, it had to have some storm
Have to
damage.
flood, it had to have storm damage.
Okay, and so do you know what storm damage this house had to make it eligible for what you're doing?
It had some flooding.
Okay, and so part of the plan for you is to elevate the house?
Correct.
Okay, and,
It should be elevated 3 feet.
You have to.
okay,
Have to elevate it.
For the program, yes. It's not in a hazardous flood zone, but because it flooded, the programmer is going to require us to elevate it. Yes.
okay,
And so what we normally do for a house that's not in a hazardous flood zone is we elevate it 2 feet above the high water mark.
and the high water mark here was,
It's based on the house, on the property. So what we do is
On
go
this
out
particular
to do
house?
and investigate. I don't know off the top of my head.
okay,
We go out and there are photos. There's an initial damage assessment from right after the storm where they interviewed the homeowner and they took pictures. So usually they have to identify some high water mark on the either inside of the house or outside. And sometimes you can tell just by what type of damage it had, if it's just baseboard and cabinets or, the flooring had to be ripped out. 'Cause, 1 inch of water, it's like having, 2 feet of water in your house with sheetrock and flooring and cabinets and all that stuff that just has to get ripped out. But that's how it's determined, the high water mark.
is this one of your standard floor plans that has, that,
Nope, it's a
you had to build a
non-standard,
separate, yeah,
the non-standard plan that we've developed for substandard lots.
okay. I was gonna say, because that's 25, 15-foot wide house. That's a interesting
It's very
situation.
narrow.
And it's two structure.
It's two-story.
I know. Well, I understand that, but still,
It's,
you're not gonna put a hallway through it.
it does have a hallway
A
to the
little-
inside.
Little bit of a
So
walkway.
it does, it has one bedroom downstairs. I know you don't really need to know this, but it is an interesting plan. It's got one bedroom downstairs and one bedroom upstairs and a full bathroom upstairs, and then a little bit of storage space up there.
Okay.
This property, I know you can see on the plan, we typically build a ramp for these houses that we elevate, but because of the size of this property, we're gonna install a wheelchair lift in the rear of the property.
That was my
But,
next question. I was actually trying to determine on which side is it going to be as scripted on the blueprint or the site plan as to be on the, I guess, the left side of the structure, the walk or the
Yeah, the left.
sidewalk?
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
But it is a very interesting plan, and we've actually built it several times because, here and there are 25-foot lots. There are quite a few of those actually that we've built on, and it fits just right typically, but I'm thinking we've not done this in Beaumont because the build lines are 7.5 foot. Maybe it's just that neighborhood, I'm not sure, but usually it's 5 foot and it fits just right. But for a 2-story building in Beaumont, it's 7.5 foot, and I had not encountered that before, so it was a little bit different. It was unexpected.
Okay.
I've actually seen one of these homes, the 2-story structure built in the Charlton Pollard area. I was surprised to see a 2-story structure in the area,
Right.
but it looks pretty good in the area, I will say.
It's fortunate that we're able to do that because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do any, help this homeowner.
Right.
And, they flooded during Harvey, so it's very likely to happen again. So we're happy we can do something for them.
Okay. Any other questions of the witness? It's crazy. Any other comments you want to make?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, panel, what's your pleasure?
Motion.
Okay. Mr. Hilliard makes a motion, and what's your motion?
I make a motion we approve file BZ 2023-133.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Jones. Let's call the roll for a vote, please.
Chairman Tamayo,
I'm for it.
Board Member Hilliard,
Four.
Member Rowe,
Or
Board Member Sorrell,
For
alternate Board Member Jones.
Okay, you're passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And then the question is whether there's any other business, and having nobody else in the room, I presume there is none, so we are adjourned.
Sir, I'm gonna tell you something. Thank you. That's 25 feet. Yes,
I
ma'am.
know it.